Hello, it's Jerry. Um, Before the audio actually begins, I'd like to just come on here and say that I'm sorry I haven't been uploading basically at all this summer, even though I said I would. There's been a lot of issues going on right now in my family, and it's made me extremely busy to where I can't record basically at all. But that issue's been resolved, and do not worry, I was not in any danger or anything. It was just a lot of, just a lot of stuff. But I should be able to go back to my every other week uploads, as long as I can come up with more content for you guys. I was actually thinking of maybe starting a little vlog channel. I got inspired by like those cute little vlogs I keep seeing on TikTok, and I just wondered if you guys would want to even see that. And also, don't be afraid to like engage with the channel, comment, subscribe. I don't want to sound like, that person, but I really do need the engagement to get out there and, for my channel to grow. Again, I'm not just doing this for the money, but I could use the help. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So, again, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. And with that being said, let's go on to the video. Hello, it's Cherry. And today, we're going to do something a little different. Many of you guys probably know about Five Nights at Freddy's. It was an indie horror game released in 2014 by game developer Scott Cawthon. In this audio, I will be recounting some basic lore and theories throughout the first 8 games. I was inspired by another ASMR YouTuber, but I promise I am not plagiarizing her video. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on the lore, and if I am wrong, please fact check me. I will not be offended at all. If you're new to Five Nights at Freddy's, which I will be calling FNAF from now on, this should be an easy segue into understanding a little bit about it. If this interests you enough, you should watch Sig and Hawk's retrospectives on the games, or if you really want to challenge yourself, watch a short introduction to FNAF by GB's Horror Homestead. It is about 9 hours long, but it is incredibly detailed and thoughtful. You could probably watch it in a day. Okay, time for the lore. It all began in what is believed to be the 1970s when 2 men, William Afton and Henry Emily, began tinkering with an idea to open a restaurant. With their shared love of children's entertainment and robotics, the first Fazbear establishment was born. Around 1983, Fredbear's Family Diner would open, starring Fredbear and Spring Bonnie as the main attraction. These 2 animatronics were made with spring locks, which would become special later. Spring locks are what made these animatronics special, as they would be also worn as suits. But these spring locks could snap back into place if exposed to moisture. I am now going to talk about the Emily and Afton families. Henry had a daughter named Charlotte, or Charlie, and while I am not sure if it is canon in the games, could have had a son named Sammy. William Afton had 3 children, Michael, the oldest, Elizabeth, and Evan, the youngest. For a time, everything seemed to be going fine until disaster struck on Evan Afton's birthday. His brother Mike and his friends forced Evan into the mouth of Fredbear. The spring locks went off, and Evan was left without a frontal lobe. Evan passed soon after, leaving his brother with guilt and trauma for the rest of his life. These are the events that take place in FNAF 4. Now, William had seemed to be a little off before, but after this, something in him snapped. He was angry, and who better to take it out on than Henry's own daughter? An eye for an eye. He seemed to blame Henry in a way. It was his creation, after all, that took his son's life. So on a dark, stormy day, late at night, he took little Charlie's life. Charlie would go on to possess the puppet, an animatronic her father Henry had made to protect her. The puppet had been there after she was murdered. Charlie is the reason why the other animatronics are haunted. Henry would soon find out about the fate of his daughter and booted William from the company, shutting down Fredbear's. There would be a new restaurant, safer, higher tech. This would be the FNAF 2 Freddy's. Yes, FNAF 2 is a prequel. The animatronics we see in FNAF 1 are actually the refurbished, withered animatronics that came from Fredbear's. Try not to think too hard about it. After he was kicked out of the company, William Afton created his own, Afton Robotics. He would go on to make his own animatronics, the Fun Times, but disaster would soon strike again. He had made these animatronics to capture children for experimentation. Little did he know that his own creation would take another one of his children's lives. His daughter Elizabeth was killed by Baby. Elizabeth would end up possessing Baby. We don't know exactly when this happens, but Michael goes down into the bunker where the Fun Times are stored, working there under his father's orders. Michael is manipulated by Baby to go to the scooper room, scooping out his innards with it, inhabiting his body along with the other Fun Times, all of them together being known as Ennard. About 6 months later, Ennard is expelled from Mike's body and he regains control. After this, he vows to stop his father's wrongdoings. Anyways, for those of you who don't know what the scooper is, it's basically a thing to get the endoskeletons out of the fun times without damaging the casing. William would go to the new Fazbear restaurant and kill 5 kids. This would be known as the Missing Children's Incident. He used a spring bonnie suit to lure them to the back. He stuffed those kids into the withered suits, which would decompose or fuse with the endoskeletons before being refurbished into FNAF 1 animatronics. Now, we don't know exactly if he was the one who stuffed them in there, or if it was the puppet. It's debated, but I'm pretty sure it was William. Mike worked at the FNAF 2 location, evidence being that he got fired for odor, again. He was a corpse at this point. He was there trying to find his father. The FNAF 2 location would soon close due to the missing kids incident in the Bite of 87. Was that the Bite of 87? The best explanation I think there is for the Bite of 87 is that the day shift, guard shift we took was opened up because Mangle bit the original guard. So then the FNAF 1 establishment opens. Mike works there, again, trying to find William, but to no avail. William had his own mission. He destroyed all the now unwithered animatronics, but he gets cornered into a back room by the spirits possessing them. He climbs into the spring bonnie suit yet again to try to scare the spirits, but the water leaking from the ceiling causes the spring locks to go off. William Afton has now become Springtrap. Mike is fired again due to odor and tampering with the animatronics, and the FNAF 1 location closes years after. Many years later, Fazbear's Frights opened. It leans into the spooky theme, and yet again Mike is hired as a security guard. It is there where he reunites with his father and now Springtrap. He burns the place down, thinking he will finally put everything to rest. Well, it didn't. As he loved to mention, William Afton always comes back. Michael finds out that his father isn't dead after all and weasels his way into being a Fazbear franchise owner. After salvaging after redesign, just awful, Scrap Baby, Wilson Freddy, and Lefty as he was instructed to do by Cassette Man, who we later learn as Henry Emily, Henry reveals the job was a trap through the animatronics so they can all burn and have their souls released. Mike decides to stay and burn too. After all, his life's mission is fulfilled. Real quick, the reason Baby and the other Fun Times are separated is because after leaving Mike's body, they had a huge fight and Baby got kicked out of Ennard. Also, Lefty is an animatronic made to capture the puppet so she'd burn with the rest of them. But don't worry, Henry didn't do this out of malice for her. He just thought it was better this way. After the building burns, Afton goes to hell. Wait, no. Cassidy, the vengeful spirit that haunts Golden Freddy, along with Evan Afton, makes her own special hell for him. This is Ultimate Custom Night, where in the game, you are literally up against every single animatronic from all the games. William's hell doesn't end until Cassie decides to let him go, where in one ending, Old Man Consequences convinces her to. Old Man Consequences is a character from FNAF World, which I will go on a side rant about in a moment. So I'm not going to be talking about any of the other games past Ultimate Custom Night in this video. That is for another time. For me, at least, I didn't invest too much into FNAF World, not because it didn't interest me, but because, and this is going to sound bad, but the main YouTuber I'd watch play FNAF, Markiplier, didn't play it, and at the time, aka when I was like, 10? I didn't have the resources to watch it on my own. If I remember, most things that happen in aren't too huge in the lore, but if you're interested, you should watch a playthrough. That's it for the major lore you should start with. I hope that this has intrigued you enough to watch more videos about the lore or some playthroughs, or maybe even put you to sleep. Good night. Sleep well.